Well, hello there. You're listening to episode 222. And today we're chatting about what happened when I went off my thyroid medication. It was a hot mess. Teaser, I almost lost my mind. I have been on desiccated thyroid since 2015, I want to say. And my levels were looking really good, so I decided to go off of it. It was a really bad idea. It wasn't just my idea. I talked to a couple doctors. They thought it was a good idea too. It was not a good idea. And I wanted to make this episode to show you how powerful the thyroid is. If you feel any of these symptoms I'm going to be sharing with you and your doctor tells you that you're depressed or have an anxiety disorder, ask to test your thyroid. And if they won't do it, find another doctor, because after this experience of going off, I have like a newfound appreciation for my thyroid because it like messed me up for months. Okay, so if you have questions about today's content, head on over to healthfulpursuit.com/contact and ask me. You can catch up on previous podcast episodes and notes of today's show by going to Keto Diet Podcast.com. And also, my new podcast, Love Rebel, just launched January 7th with its very first new episode. You can just go to your podcast player, search for Love Rebel, check it out, and let's do this thing. Hey, I'm Leanne Vogel, and you're listening to the Keto Diet Podcast. I've put together a free 21-page guide on achieving weight loss on your keto diet if nothing is working. Did you know imbalanced hormones are generally at the core of all struggles that women face when it comes to our weight? Grab your free guide at ketoforwomen.com to get the steps you need to overcome the hurdles standing in your way. Thanks so much for listening, and let's get started with the show. Okay, so a little bit of a backstory, and if after listening through all this, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to test my thyroid and I need support with my hormones. This is me. Here are a couple of resources I want to share with you from the very get-go so that you don't forget and I don't forget. First off, services to check your markers include Everly Well. They deliver test kits right to your door. You prick your finger like you do testing your ketones, send off that little drop of blood, like literally a tiny drop of blood, and they can test anything. Everlywell.com/keto. You can go there, look for the thyroid panel or hormone panel. The women's health panel is amazing. Use the coupon code KETO for 15% off. I wasn't paid to share that. I just think that it's really helpful. Now, Canadians, I'm sorry, my Canadian friends, there are so many rules and regulations about testing that you have to go to your doctor and ask for a blood test. There's no way around it. Now, if you want more support with a program to help you support your hormones, I have a program for that. It's called Happy Keto Body. You can go to happyketobody.com to find out more information. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, I've been on desiccated thyroid. Desiccated thyroid prescribed to me by a doctor. So you can't get this on the internet, and no, you need to actually get a prescription. I chose desiccated thyroid because for me, it made the most sense for my symptoms and everything that was going on. Desiccated thyroid is the most pure that I was able to find for my body. And I originally started off at 120 milligrams every day. So I was taking 60 milligrams in the morning, 60 milligrams at night, and then just 120 in the morning. And that was fine. I jumped up to 180 milligrams when I was on tour. And then I find when we were living in the RV and also when we're on the boat, I can take less because I'm not as stressed. But it's always been that I've taken quite a lot. Now, in the last 2 years, okay, so since about mid 2017-ish, I started noticing that I didn't need as much of it. And so I went from 120 to 75 to 60 to 30 to 15. And I was sitting at 15 milligrams for probably a year and a half. And some days I would forget to take it, and other days it would be fine. And it was fine. I was consistent with the pills at 15 milligrams for about 6 months. Probably longer, but some days I would forget it because we're all human. I'm not going to say I'm perfect whatsoever. And so I was testing my blood. And for years it was perfect. My levels were perfect. So I chatted with one of my doctor friends and she was like, yeah, it makes sense. Just try to go off of it, see what happens. Because it's been very challenging for me to get desiccated thyroid while we're traveling. And that's been such a headache trying to find it. And, when you're in the Bahamas, not many people know what desiccated thyroid is. And I can't carry enough with me. It's just kind of a nightmare. So I went off and I was off for 31 days. And here's what happened. I slowly started getting really sad. And it started off really small with things just set me off. Kevin would say, "Oh, I forgot to bring your water bottle from the car." And I'd get really sad, almost to the place of tears. And then I started dealing with panic. Kevin wouldn't come home at 5 o'clock when he said he'd come home. And then all of a sudden I was really worried. And I was like, oh my God, did he die? It's 5:10. Oh my gosh, it's 5:15. What's happening? What's happening? And then he'd get home and I'd be so angry. Why didn't you tell me? It was crazy making. I had no idea what was happening. I didn't know. For a bit there, I thought, it's just, maybe it's because I'm about to get my period. And I kind of just pushed it off. It's fine. It's fine. Then I started dealing with more anxiety, paranoia. I started feeling like things weren't making sense. I would sit down and try to focus and I couldn't focus. And then I would try to not think about all the negative things that were happening in my life, but I couldn't get off of them and I couldn't grasp anything to really focus on it or fix it or to let it go. I just felt so overwhelmed all the time. I felt like I was losing my mind, honestly. I was so worried for the last 3 days. I think come day 28. And at this point, day 20, I wasn't thinking that my symptoms were because of my thyroid. I honestly forgot about it. I was going through every day, really sad. I was about to talk to a doctor about going on antidepressants because I was losing my mind. I couldn't even handle it. Oh. And at this point, I just completely forgot that I had gone off my thyroid meds until, thank God, Kevin was like, okay, you're totally losing it. Do you think that this could be because you went off your thyroid meds? And I was like, oh my God, babe, do you think? And he's like, yeah, go back on them. Before he came to this realization for me, my period was coming every 17 days. So in the first 31 days of being off of it, it came on the 17th day of my cycle, which was a huge piss off. And then it came on the 17th day of my next cycle. And this lasted for 4 months. I was getting a period there was one where I got 14 days. 14 days is not you bleed and then you have a week and then you bleed again. It's just not fair. It was horrible. Today's episode continues after this short message from one of my sponsors who make the show possible, plus give you some great deals on my favorite things. Okay, so you're likely supplementing with collagen. And if you've been following me a while, you know I don't align with any collagen brand because the quality is about the same everywhere. And my motto is supplement with the stuff, just get one that's easy to find, doesn't break the bank, and use it often. But okay, so I found this beauty collagen that's 25 to 40% less expensive than other brands while having the same quality. So there's that. Plus, I'm about to share a 25% off coupon code with you, and I'm really excited about this. The brand is Fancy Formulas. It's the only collagen powder enhanced with MCT oil powder, biotin, and hyaluronic acid for bonus skin, hair, and nail benefits. And because of the added MCT oil powder, you can just add this collagen mix directly to water. You don't need any fancy smoothie making skills or coffee. You don't need a blender. Just mix with water and enjoy it. Pairing the collagen with MCT fats slows the absorption of protein and makes it so that you don't need to add it to anything else but water. Okay, there's 3 flavors. My favorite flavor before bed is the turmeric blend, and I can't go the morning without the charcoal lemonade before I break my fast. Now you can go to fancyformulas.com/KDP. Use the coupon code KDP for 25% off your entire purchase. Okay, that's fancyformulas.com/KDP. Use the code KDP for 25% off. I don't know when this code is going to expire. I know that it will fairly soon. So if you're like, I need to load up with collagen, do it and enjoy it. And the bleeding was really light, and it wasn't that deep red color. It was like a fruit punch color. I've actually done an episode in the past about what your period blood should look like and what it tells about you. You can look for that in previous archives of the Keto Diet Podcast. I was experiencing weight gain, crazy hunger, like I could not eat enough. I had no interest in being around people. I declined a bunch of parties that I was looking forward to, a bunch of events that I wanted to do, but when it came time to do it, I was just not wanting to do it. I started dealing with a bunch of crazy acne. And if you guys remember when Kevin and I were renting, if you follow us on Instagram at Healthful Pursuit, we were renting a house and my skin got really bad and I thought it was fizzy water. Then I thought it was CBD oil. No, it turns out it was me not being on thyroid meds. Chocolate cravings. I was craving chocolate like crazy. I could not even get enough chocolate in my body. And my intuition really suffered in my private sessions, my healing sessions with my clients. If you want to find out more about this, you can go to leannevogel.com. They just weren't as on point, my intuition was suffering. I wasn't connecting to my body. I wasn't connecting to the field as much as I normally do. It was a huge struggle. So if anything that I'm sharing is like, oh my gosh, me too. And maybe you've never tested your thyroid. You've never thought about your thyroid being an issue. I would highly, highly, highly recommend, please test your thyroid. Talk to your doctor. It makes me so angry when I talk to women and they say I thought it was my thyroid and I went into my doctor and he just said, depression comes with age. Here's an antidepressant. If a doctor says that to me, I'm like, no, man. You need to test my thyroid. And if they say no, then I find another doctor. It's your body. It's your life. Nobody will care about your body as much as you will. Your doctor does not care about your body. Sorry, I have to say it. 99.9% of all healthcare people, right? Standard healthcare people will not care about your body. And I would say 100% of all healthcare people won't care about your body as much as you will. They just can't. They won't. It's not possible. You have to love your body. You have to respect your body. You have to be number one advocate for your body all the time. If you feel like something is wrong, tell somebody. If they won't respect that, find somebody else. Your body is the most important thing you have on this earth. It is your vehicle to experience this life right now. And if it's not wonderful, if it's not feeling great, if you're massively depressed, have paranoia, anxiety, panic, can't get a grasp on things, feeling like you're losing your mind, probably best to find somebody to support you on that. And it's so helpful to test. So again, everlywell.com/keto. Head on over there, find the thyroid panel. Keto will give you 15% off. Now, I don't have a service outside of this that I can recommend that I love. Everlywell is pretty awesome. Today's episode continues after this short message from one of my sponsors who make the show possible, plus give you some great deals on my favorite things. Today's show is brought to you by Four Sigmatic, the makers of my favorite magic elixirs, like the Lion's Mane Elixir. Add to coffee, your morning tea, smoothies, shakes, you name it, and watch your anxiety go down and your cognitive function increase. Each of their elixirs are formulated to support various aspects of your health and wellness, from brain function to energy production, relaxation, and more. They're easy to travel with, you can add them to any liquid, and they're pretty tasty too. Use the coupon code KETO, all in caps, for 15% off all things at foursigmatic.com/keto. Unsure of the link? Check out today's show notes for all the details. Okay, so after Kevin and I are sitting at the table and I'm losing my mind and crying and everything is setting me off and I'm like, what's happening? And Kevin's like, do you think it could be your thyroid meds? And I'm like, oh my gosh, do you think? It literally took me 2 days to feel normal in my head. 2 days. I went on 30 milligrams on day 1 and 30 milligrams on day 2. And all of a sudden the clouds lifted, angels sang. It was perfect. My skin took 3 months to go back to normal. And it took me about 2 months to regulate my cycle afterward. Oh my gosh, I'm never doing this again. I will fly wherever I need to fly to get desiccated thyroid. I'm never going off of it again. So I wanted to make this episode because I think so many of us feel like and I'm guilty of this too. Think that medications are useless and once we're good, we can just go off of them and free ourselves from the restraints of medications. Sometimes you just need them and that's okay. And I'm embracing the fact that I think I'll just be on this for the rest of my life. And if paranoia, anxiety, crazy hunger, no interest in being around people is who I am without my medication, then I don't want to be that person. I can't. And I'll continue to do so many of the energetic healings that I've been doing for my thyroid and hopefully get it to a place maybe one day where I don't need medication, but I'm not shameful to say that I'm on desiccated thyroid 30 milligrams and I'm okay with that. So I hope today's episode was helpful. On Wednesday, January 15th, episode 223, Megan Rand and Dr. Alex are taking over the show, sharing cyclical keto with your menstrual cycle. It's a really good episode. Sunday, January 19th, episode 224, my friend Krista Oregio is chatting about customizing your macros for hormonal healing. Okay, we will see you soon. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Keto Diet Podcast. Join us again in a couple of days to discover more Keto for Women secrets for your fat-fueled life. The Keto Diet Podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor should it be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Keto Diet Podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representations or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified physician for medical advice and always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.